If I could go back in time, the three words I would say to my 14-year-old self would be to start leveling up. Humans have a natural tendency to feel important as a person, like we are important. Even though internally we feel that we are not as valuable as we think, because we are on this tiny planet which is a dot in our solar system, and even on the tiny planet we ourselves are a dot. So in the grand cosmic reality we aren't as valuable, but on an individual level we want to feel that we are important, that we have some part in the grand scheme of things, in the grand war. Every soldier wants to feel that he has some important part to play in it, right? And that's the natural human tendency, to be and to feel that we are wanted in the tribe. Why is that? Because in earlier days, when we were in hunter-gatherer tribes, the future wasn't certain. We didn't know that we would survive tomorrow or not if we were alone. But when we were in a tribe, when we were surrounded by a group of people, our chances of survival were fairly higher as compared to if we were alone. Thus, through our primal years, we have been programmed to essentially care about our level in the social hierarchy of humans. That how would I compare to X in the school, or how would I compare myself to Y in the gym, or how would I compare myself to Z in the company I'm working in. These are all tendencies that we need to fulfill in order to have a good life, that we are someone, we matter. But the sad reality is that most of us from birth aren't valuable. When we were kids, we were made to feel really, really important by our parents. To our every little whim, to our every little cry, they would come running, and they would make us stop crying, or at least try to make us stop crying. That made us feel that we were important. But as we slightly grew older, we started to realize that slowly and slowly our parents' attraction towards us, our parents' attentiveness towards us started to fade. When we were 2 years old, our parents would come running whenever we cried. When we were four, they came twice as late as when we were crying. And probably when we were around the ages of 10, they wouldn't even bother to come many times. And that made us see our own mortality or our own replaceability to them. And that was really fearful and traumatic, right? Growing up, I was a very insecure kid. And I wasn't just insecure on the surface level, I was really, really insecure. For example, I wasn't able to compare my marks with other kids when I knew that I cheated for just 1 marks. I wouldn't be able to tell you or tell this camera to tell my audience that I cracked this exam if I knew I just cheated for 1 marks. I wouldn't be able to show a car in my video or show a car in my Instagram photo if I knew that it wasn't mine. Like that's the kind of insecure I am. That if I'm showing something, then that means that I 100% I was able to get it. Like it is mine, which I'm trying to portray. That's how authentically I am. And that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Like it's dual. Because on one hand, it made me really repulsive to cheating. I didn't want to cheat because I wasn't really proud of my marks when I cheated. But it also made me sad because the easier route to success wasn't available to me. Instead of trying to act cool, I actually wanted to be cool. And because acting cool is way easier than actually trying and being cool, I wasn't really cool. And your importance in the hierarchy in school or in college or in your company depends on how you look. And as a result, I wasn't really cool, right? This made me very unhappy as a kid. Very, very, very unhappy. And now, when I look at myself, I'm currently 19 years old. I see myself that there was such a simple thing which I could have done back then, and all my pains would have been just invincible, would have disappeared. I think of myself as a person who can do anything if he puts his mind into it. And that's a really powerful thing to have as a belief. But this belief wasn't formed by me. I copied it from someone else. 2 years prior, some people on the internet started to preach the idea of self-belief, and I cultivated it then. But prior to that, for 16 years, I wasn't even able to understand that life wasn't was happening to me, and I wasn't happening to life. Back then, if I could just have taken accountability over my life, I would have been much happier. Because what did I want to get with those good marks? I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel that I actually am cool, that I'm actually good at studies. But I hated studies, and I was dumb enough to not be able to correlate that the more I study, the better I would get at studying, the better I would get at studying, the better marks I would get. I wasn't even able to correlate that. And as a result, I suffered a lot. I wasn't able to understand why girls wouldn't like me. Like, internally, I was a good person. I, I had decent grades. I was respectful. I was fun to talk with in my own worldview. But girls never saw me with those eyes, the eyes of a potential mate. And now, girls still don't see me as a potential mate. But the attitude towards me have certainly changed. Fuck you, Fly. They have certainly changed. And why is that? Simply because I went to the gym. I've gone to the gym for around 2.5 years, but I've not taken my diet seriously. That's a fault on me. And still, I've made quite good progress. Like, this is a pic of me 6 months ago. This was a pic of me, and I know I don't look great. I don't have the abs. I don't have the proper cuts in my chest. I don't know how to pose, but it's still good. Like, if you peek through the photo, you can see that there is a bicep vein, and you can see my 3D shoulders. So the one thing which made me attractive to girls was simply my physique. And back then, instead of thinking or overthinking my own internal worth as a person, I could have just started being fit. Like, when I was 14, I was a bit fat. I was chubby. I wasn't as fast as I'm now. I wasn't as confident as I am now. And that made me lose respect for myself. And when you don't have respect for yourself, people don't respect you. And instead of thinking ways to increase my self confidence, I could have just gotten better with my physique. But I didn't know it back then. That I could it intentionally choose what I want to be. I didn't know that I could intentionally choose what I want to be. I can intentionally choose which life I want to live. I didn't know it back then. And as a result, I suffered a lot. But now, after leveling up quite a bit, I have started to realize how important it is to believe in yourself and to believe in the order of things. That if you work hard enough for long enough time, you will get better at the thing you want to get better at. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the great bodybuilder, has this quote that there are only three things that you need to have and you can achieve any goal you want: self belief, a positive attitude, and honest hard work. Self belief, a positive attitude, and honest hard work. Like, that's the recipe to success. And I didn't understand that I could be successful. Like that was for the for the people who were already successful or who were gifted. But after reading a bunch of biographies like Walter Isaacson's, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Einstein, I realized that these were fairly normal people who just started early. And by early, I mean they started when they were 5 or 6 years old. So they were normal people, they were just like me. But they had started way earlier than when I started, which was 17 years old. So it's been around 2.5 years, and I will be turning 20 this year. So it's been 3 years. And just think of Elon at this age. Like he started when he was 6 and he would be 20 right now. So if I had 3 years at the back, he has 14. And how much better you can get in 3 years versus how much better you can get in 14. That's the difference. And this is what I failed to understand, that the earlier you start, the earlier you finish. The earlier you start, the earlier you finish. That's the beauty of life, that you can have a lot of things you want. And if you just work hard, you can get them. If I could go back in time to when I was 14 years old, I would simply just start working out. I would go on small runs. I would start playing a lot of sports. I would start learning a musical instrument. I would work on my physique. I would start reading a lot of books. Why? Because this would help me improve. And the more you improve, the better your life gets. The better your life gets, the more important you become. The more important you become, the more social validation you get from other people. The more social validation you get from other people, the happier or more fulfilled your life gets. As humans, we all care about our place in this hierarchy, and it's better to optimize for it rather than ignore it. Like, I want to get into a top manga company, and instead of ignoring that fact that I can't get into it, instead of deflating the fact that I can't get into it, I would just choose to not believe it. I would like to think that, okay, right now as a person, I'm not developed enough, I'm not skilled enough to get into a manga company. So, in the next 6 to 1 year, I would make myself someone who is capable of getting into a top tier product company. That's a much better attitude to have towards life, because this doesn't make you a victim. This doesn't turn your life into something which happens to you. And that's something which I hate. Like, the worst thing when you are an insecure kid is that you want to have control over your life. And this is the best way that you can get control over your life. Like Epictetus said, I must die, but must I die bawling? I must die, but must I die bawling? I know I have to die, but it doesn't imply that I need to die crying. I know God has made me suffer a lot, but that doesn't mean that I have to cry while suffering. I can smile while suffering, right? That's the thing which I want you, which I want to impart to you. That universe is giving. It gives you a lot of things if you just work hard for it long enough. Like, externally, I have not gotten the success I want even now, but I've gotten a fairly decent physique compared to the time when I used filters whenever I was shirtless because I was so insecure with my own body. And at that time I wasn't even fat, but still I was so insecure with my body that I used to put filters on it. And now I can post a physique, and it's still a trash physique, but I'm proud of it. My letters, which I started writing a year ago, this was the first letter which I wrote, and you can read it. It's pretty trashy, and this is the recent letter which I put out, and you can read and you can clearly see the difference between these two letters. And it only took me 1 year. like one damn year. If you also want, you can go to this, you can scroll down on this YouTube channel and you can see my first videos. You can see how bad my English is, and you can compare it to now when my English is still kind of bad, but it's much better than what it used to be. I can speak clearer. I can speak with a much more confidence. I can speak with some respect to myself that even though I've not achieved the thing I want, I'm still someone. I'm still someone worth recognizing because I'm trying. Even though I'm not achieving the things, I'm trying every day. I'm putting in the work. I'm taking out the tripod stand. I'm putting up my phone in the tripod stand. I'm recording this video. I'm editing it. I'm publishing it. It still takes honest hard work and I'm doing it. And this is the thing which I would want to tell my 14-year-old self, my 15-year-old self, my 16-year-old self, that you can start now and no one is stopping you other than you yourself.